you know, in contemplating how to go about marking the 10-year anniversary of the illegal invasion and occupation that this country engaged in 10 years ago, there are so many facets of this. One, of course, sort of the horrific state of Iraq at this point, the tremendous cost in terms of lives, both nearly 5,000 U.S. military personnel, another 4,000 to 5,000 U.S. contractors, not all of whom were mercenaries. At the minimum, 130,000 innocent Iraqi lives. I'm not talking about so-called insurgents or Iraqi military. Innocent Iraqi lives. Those figures are the most conservative. They're the ones from our government. The displacement of nearly 4 million refugees over the course of these 10 years, half of which more or less internally displaced, the other half which refugees outside of Iraq. The destabilization of that country, the leaving of their political order in complete disarray in many respects. It is really hard to sort of digest all of it. And so it's my intention to focus on a very narrow slice of that. But before we do, I want to remind you, and this is going to be sort of painful, but I want to just remind you of how this war started with a shock and awe campaign. 10 years ago to the day, where with an enormous amount of force, we bombed the hell out of Baghdad, killing who knows how many Iraqi civilians at the time. And this is how it launched. Forgive me for reminding you of this, but it's the least that we can do. Here it is.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign. More than 35 countries are giving crucial support, from the use of naval and air bases to help with intelligence and logistics to the deployment of combat units. Every nation in this coalition has chosen to bear the duty and share the honor of serving in our common defense. To all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces now in the Middle East, the peace of a troubled world and the hopes of an oppressed people now depend on you. That trust is well placed. The enemies you confront will come to know your skill and bravery. The people you liberate will witness the honorable and decent spirit of the American military. In this conflict, America faces an enemy who has no regard for conventions of war or rules of morality. Saddam Hussein has placed Iraqi troops and equipment in civilian areas, attempting to use innocent men, women, and children as shields for his own military, a final atrocity against his people. I want Americans and all the world to know that coalition forces will make every effort to spare innocent civilians from harm. A campaign on the harsh terrain of a nation as large as California could be longer and more difficult than some predict. And helping Iraqis achieve a united, stable, and free country will require our sustained commitment.
Yeah, nearly 10 years of commitment. And just to go down, understand that literally in the days, if not hours, before this shock and awe began, the United States informed the UN that you must get your weapons inspectors who had been there for several months out of the country. These weapons inspectors found nothing. Zero. To the point where they were making public requests of the U.S. government, tell us where these things are that you supposedly are aware of. We have searched everywhere and found nothing. No weapons of mass destruction. Nothing that indicates the peace of the free world or the entire world would rest on your invading this country. That is the thing that I think we forget the most at that time, was that there were weapons inspectors on the ground. And those of us who were saying that this is an unnecessary war, this is a war of choice, there is no imminent threat to the United States, the least that could be done is simply allow the weapons inspectors to continue their work there. But there was a fear, I think, in the administration that, in fact, would be problematic. That if they were allowed to stay there, the will to go to war in this country would diminish because it would be clear there was no threat.